Okay, let's begin with our analysis of the QA section for 2021 EOM IIFT 3. So broadly, we will be looking at four things. We will be looking at topic distribution, question mapping, which questions were easy, moderate, and difficult. We will be looking at the expected attempts from the average student. And we will be also looking at the expected score of the average student, which should come from the expected attempts. So let us begin with topic distribution. So these were the topics from which questions were asked in this IIFT mock. There were two questions from clocks. Both of the questions were not very difficult. In fact, one question can also be thought of as a time, speed, and distance question. And the other question was a basic question dealing with faulty clocks. We had 3 time and work questions. We had questions on men and women. We had questions on alternate days. We had questions on pipes and leaks. All 3 were doable. We had 2 questions on quadratic equations. We had 2 questions on time and distance, which had to do with boats and trains. We had 3 questions on pure geometry, in which we had questions dealing with triangles, questions on circles and squares. We had 2 questions on percentages, not very difficult. 2 questions on profit and loss, in which in one question, there was successive discount. And one of the forms of discount was in giving some items free on buying other items, which made it a bit more complicated. We had 1 question on progressions, infinite GP, a standard question that should have been solved. 1 simple question on simple interest. 1 question on averages that might have posed trouble if students were not aware of a certain concept. We had 1 question on permutation and combinations, rearranging coffee, the word letters of the word coffee. We had 1 question on functions. That was also a question on graphs. We had 2 questions on number system, 1 on base system, and 1 in which 2 2-digit numbers were being added to get a 3-digit number. We had 1 question on coordinate geometry. We had a quadrilateral. We had to find the point of intersection of the diagonals. And we had 1 question on LCM, in which we simply had to find the LCM of 2 fractions. So now let us look at the classification of questions according to difficulty level. We will begin with the easy questions. So the first question that can be thought of as easy is the question in which a sphere was thrown upward and then it bounced back down. And then after each bounce, it rose up to 3/5 of the previous height. So this was a clear standard question on infinite GP. We could easily calculate the total distance that should have been covered by the sphere. This was a question that should not have been missed by any student. We had a question on temperature of water, in which when a person was boiling the water, when he was bringing it to boiling point, the volume was increasing by 8%. So he had a certain quantity of water, he wanted it at boiling point, but he did not want the quantity it would eventually become in total. He wanted a lesser quantity. So the question was, how many ml would we have to boil away to get the desired quantity? And this was an easy question. It was purely simple calculations. This also should have been solved. We had a question on clocks. At what time between 3 and 4 p.m. will the 2 hands of a clock be in opposite directions? This we could simply think of as a time, speed, and distance question. Hour hand moves 0.5 degrees per minute. Minute hand moves 6 degrees per minute. Relative speed is 5.5 degrees per minute. Find the distance. Okay, at 3 p.m., the hour hand is 90 degrees ahead of the minute hand. And we want, for 180 degrees, for opposite directions, we want 180 degrees to be between them. So total of 90 degrees plus 180 degrees, that would have been the distance. And then we know the relative speed is 5.5 degrees per minute. In that way, we could have found the time. A standard question should have been attempted. We had a question on 2 pipes which were filling water and a leak which was emptying the tank in m minutes. We had the individual times for A and B. So we could have just used the LCM method or the reciprocal method. We could have easily solved this question as well. We had a question in which a faulty clock was losing 5 minutes every hour. So from this, we could have figured out that a normal clock runs 60 minutes in an hour. So this faulty clock will run 55 minutes in an hour. So we have the ratio of the duration for which they run. And we had the time for which time that the faulty clock was showing. So from that, we could calculate the actual time that must have passed. And in this way, we could have solved this question. We had a simple question on simple interest in which principal was becoming 3 times in 8 years. How many times would it become in 24 years? Very standard question. Simply plug in the values in the formula and you would have easily got the answer. We had one time, speed and distance question in which there were 2 trains moving in opposite directions and 20% less time was taken to cross when the slower train doubled its speed. So also a standard question, easy question, just assign A and B as the speeds of faster and slower train and then work with ratios. Okay, you will have the opposite directions, add up the speeds. So that is A plus B in the first case. In the second case, slower train is doubling the speed, so it is becoming 2B. So the speed, the relative speed is A plus 2B. Now we can find the ratio of the time, 20% less time. So we can find the ratio of the time and ratio of speed will be inverse of ratio of time. So in this way, we could have easily solved this question as well. Now let us look at the final question, which was easy. And this was a very easy question indeed. It was a question on LCM of fractions. So 2 fractions were given, these 2 fractions, and we simply had to find the LCM. So here the only thing that was required from our side was to simplify this fraction 63 by 91. We could cancel out 7. And after simplifying, we just had to find the LCM of these 2 fractions, which would have been LCM of numerators divided by HCF of the denominators. Now let us move on to the moderate questions in this paper. So there was one question on profit and loss in which there was a highway restaurant owner making a certain revenue and a certain percentage profit. When he started giving away free food, his revenue doubled, but his profit percentage fell down by 25%. And we had to find out what was the difference in profit, increase in profit percentage, something like that. And now this wasn't really a difficult question, but some people might have got confused on exactly how to proceed. And that is why not everyone would have been able to do it. Even though it's a question on profit and loss, which most students jump at, they are eager to solve questions on profit and loss because it is usually considered to be easy. But still, some students, I feel, might not have been able to solve it because it was not the standard question on profit and loss. Now, there was one question in which we were told that the area outside square but inside circle, that is represented by one letter, and area outside circle but inside square is represented by another letter. We had to find the difference between these two, the areas represented by these 2 letters. Now, this was not a difficult question, but this is not a question that you come across too often. Now, once you have seen the solution for this question, once you know how it is to be solved, next time you will find it easy. But since many people would have faced this question for the first time, I feel many people would not have been able to solve it. And that is why this is a moderate question. This is the type of question where coming across it before makes it almost certain that, okay, now you will be able to solve it. We had one question in which in a circle of radius 5, AB is a chord of length 8, X is the midpoint of AB, then a line is drawn from X passing through the center, meeting the circumference of the circle at a certain point, point C. We had to find the length of AC. Now, this was not at all a difficult question. In fact, it was almost an easy question. The point is that there was no diagram provided. So you would have had to make your own diagram. And that is why it has been classified as a moderate question. Because some people might have been confused. They might have become confused about the meaning of the word segment. And they might have not remembered certain concepts, such as when a line joins center of the circle to the midpoint of the chord, It is perpendicular to the chord. So that is why, considering also that the diagram was not provided, this is a moderate question, but it was very, very doable. Now, there was one question in which AB plus BC was given as ACB, where A, B, and C are digits, and we had to find the value of B. So basically, two-digit numbers being added to give a three-digit number, and we had to find value of B. Now, this was not a difficult question. The only trick here was that when two-digit numbers are added, even when they are the maximum that they can be, even if we take the greatest two-digit numbers, 99 and 99, even then maximum sum that we can get is 198. So the three-digit number that we are getting here, the first digit has to be 1. And in this way, we could have proceeded and found the value of B to be 9. We had one question in which a shopkeeper was giving successive discounts. Now, the first two discounts were straightforward, 20%, 20%. Third discount, customer was getting 3 units free on purchasing 5. So here, effectively, his discount was 3 by 8 or 37.5%. Now, that is the inference that many students might not have got. And that is why this is classified as a moderate question. If you had understood that this means, okay, this is a 37.5% discount, then this question would have become very manageable. There was a question on base system in which we had to find the smallest 10-digit binary number written in the decimal system. And we could have just observed the pattern that the smallest two-digit binary number is 10. Okay, 10 in base 2, that is the smallest two-digit binary number, which comes out to be simply 2 in base 10. Similarly, 100 in base 2 is the smallest three-digit binary number, which comes out to be 4 or 2 square in base 10. And in this way, we could have followed the pattern and come to the conclusion that the smallest 10-digit binary number in base 2 will simply be 2 to the power 9 or 512 in the decimal system. Not too difficult, but many students are not very comfortable with the concept of base system. So they might have struggled with this question. Now we had a question in which it was given that the average marks of the class was the average of the average marks of the boys and the average marks of the girls. Confusing wording. It would have been difficult to know exactly how to proceed, whether to assign variables to everything, form equations, get confused, and so on. But here, it was just important to know that when this is the case, that when the average marks, when the combined average of two categories is the average of the average marks of one category and the average marks of the other category, then the averages of the two categories are equal. So whatever was the average marks of the girls was also the average marks of the boys. And that was it. You would not have even required to put pen to paper if you had known this concept. But many people don't know this concept. That is why it is a moderate question. If you had known it, you would have been able to solve it in 10 seconds. Next, we had a question on time and work in which A and B worked on alternate days. When A started, work was done in 21.5 days. When B started, it was done in 21 days. Not a difficult question, but some degree of calculation, some degree of thinking was required. It was imperative to be careful. And most people, while they do questions on time and work, there are not as many questions on alternate days that they come across. And hence they might be a bit hesitant with this aspect. And also you had 21.5 days. So a decimal value here. So considering all these points, it has been classified as a moderate question, but it was very manageable. Now there was another question on time and work in which we had men and women, certain number of men, certain number of women doing a certain task in a certain number of days. So from the information provided, two equations could have been formed. Relation between men and women could have been found. And then total work could have been found. And we could have then found how many days 2 men and 2 women will take to complete the same task. Okay, very doable. Simply had to form equations and work your way through it. It was just a bit time consuming. And there were some calculations involved. Okay, so it was a bit easy to make mistakes here. Now let us move on to those questions which were moderate, but somewhat lengthy and time consuming. So there was one question on boats in which boats and streams in which the speed of a boat was increasing by 25%. And because of that, the round trip time was decreasing by 35%. Here we had to assign variables. Let the speed of boat be capital B, let the speed of the stream be small u, and then find the average speed when both of them are just v and u. Now, when speed of boat is increasing by 25%, then find the average speed for the round trip. Okay, so now we have the ratio of the speed, average speed in terms of v and u. Now we can also find the ratio of time because round trip time is decreasing by 35%. So if originally it was 100, now it is 65. So we could have used ratio of speed, ratio of time, and the concept that ratio of speed is the inverse of the ratio of time. And in this way, we could have solved the question. This was time consuming, easy to lose your way while making your progress through the question. And that is why it is a moderate time consuming question. We had a question on modulus, apparently on modulus. A part of it was certainly on modulus. But here, if we just assigned a value to this mod of x plus 6, if we took mod of x plus 6 to be some variable, suppose k, then we would have simply got a quadratic equation, k square plus 7k minus 18. We could have solved the quadratic equation to get the value of k. Now k was mod of x plus 6. So now we would have had two values of mod of x plus 6. One of the values was negative. Mod cannot be negative. It has to be 0 or positive. So that value would have been cancelled out. And from the other value, we would have got two values of x that would have satisfied that equation. Not a difficult question, just somewhat time consuming. We had one question on coordinate geometry in which there was a quadrilateral ABCD. We had the coordinates of ABCD and we had to find the point of intersection of the diagonals. Now, not an easy question, certainly, but also not a difficult one because only the basic concepts from coordinate geometry were required. Concepts we would have learned even in school. So the concepts were that we had to take a diagonal A and C, AC, for example, find the slope of the line, standard formula, basic formula in coordinate geometry. And after finding the slope of the line, form the equation of the line, and then find the constant term of that equation by plugging in either the coordinate values of A or C into the equation of the line. So we would have found the equation of the line for diagonal AC, and in the same manner, we could have found the equation of the line for diagonal BD. Then those two equations we could have solved simultaneously to find the intersection point. Lots of steps involved, lots of calculations, substituting values, then solving simultaneous equations and so on. Final answer was also in decimals. So this was certainly time consuming, but not difficult. Utilize basic concepts. It would have just taken you quite a bit of time. Next, we had a permutation combination question in which letters of the word coffee were permuted in all the possible manners. Now, this, if you had tried to proceed in the standard way, just trying to list down all the permutations systematically from the beginning, it would have taken you some time and there was a chance that you would have made some mistake. But if you had known the trick to this, that this coffee, if we ignore the C, then the letters are in reverse alphabetical order, and therefore this arrangement is simply the last of the arrangements of these letters, considering the words that begin with the letter C. So once you had understood that this will simply have the last rank, considering the words which begin with the letter C, then you could have easily solved this question. Okay, now let us look at the difficult questions. So there was one question on quadratic equations with real coefficients. We had to find the nature of the roots. Now this was a difficult question because first we had to assign variables alpha and beta to the roots. We had to find the relation, some information about alpha and beta. And from there we had to deduce what was the nature of the roots. And finally, the roots turned out to be complex. We found that one root was complex, and from that we had to deduce that since the coefficients are real, the other root also has to be complex and it has to be a conjugate of this root. So those deductions were difficult, and normally we do not deal with complex roots. Conjugates, students are usually unfamiliar with that. And those deductions especially, those are conceptual. And that is why this question has been mapped as difficult. So I believe that not many students would have got this correct. Now there was one question which stated how many times does mod of mod x minus 3 minus 2 cross the x-axis. So for this, we had to be familiar with graphs. We had to start off with a graph of mod x, and then find the graph of mod x minus 3, and then find the graph of mod x minus 3, and from there move to the graph of mod x minus 3 minus 2. So all these steps involved, and you had to be crystal clear in your knowledge of graphs, of what happens when you have a minus 3, and then when you have another mod outside mod x minus 3, and then you have a minus 2. So you had to be very careful about that, very confident in your conceptual clarity to be able to get the correct answer here. Now we had a question in geometry in which a triangle ABC was given. We had lengths of two sides, AB and BC, and we knew that altitude from C to AB was 3. And we had to find which of the following options could have been a possible length of AC. Now here there were two cases. AC could have been above AB, within the range of AB, above it, forming an acute angle triangle, or it could have been outside the range of AB, forming an obtuse angle triangle. Now we had to try both of these cases. Now we would have probably started with the acute angle triangle case, and we would have got a length of AC, which would not have matched with any of the values given in the options. Then we might have tried for the obtuse angle triangle case, and the value of AC that we would have got would have matched with one of the values in the options, which would have been the correct answer. The problem here, what made this question difficult, was that it would have been difficult in the exam situation to consider that there would have been two cases, one forming acute angle triangle, one forming obtuse angle triangle. And to have a belief in yourself that you would be able to deal with both cases adequately and deal with the calculations, deal with the extra time required to go through two cases instead of one. So that is why this was a difficult question. Now the last difficult question had to do with the sum of three distinct natural numbers, which was given as 92. We had to find the maximum product of the three. Now here, simply looking at the various combinations would have been too time consuming and would have been difficult to calculate. Now, if someone had known the concept, which is a pretty standard concept, that when the sum is given, then the product is maximum when the numbers are equal, or if they are at least very close to each other, as close to each other as possible. Now here numbers could not be equal because they were distinct. So each number had to be different. So instead of 92, we had to first look at 93 and take all three numbers as equal as 31. And then we had to make the numbers distinct, considering the sum as 93 itself. And then from 93, we had to move to 92, and therefore we had to subtract one of those numbers by 1. So doing all of this, knowing the steps to take to come to the final answer, that was not easy. And that is why this question was also difficult. So now we can look at the expected attempts and the expected scores. So let us first look at the expected attempts. So we had in this paper a total of 8 easy questions, out of which at least 7 should have been attempted. Now, ideally, all 8 of them should have been attempted, but just in case someone got stuck on a moderate or a difficult question, he might have missed out on one of these easy questions, but at least 7 should have been attempted out of these 8 easy questions. Now, there were 9 moderate questions, a high number of moderate questions, out of which at least 6 should have been attempted. Now, there were 4 moderate but time-consuming questions. Because they were time-consuming, all of them should not have been attempted, but one of them, which played to the strengths of a particular candidate, should have been picked up and dealt with. Now, there were 4 difficult questions which could have been skipped unless you had come across such a question before. it would have been wise to skip it. So we do not expect the average student to deal with difficult questions. So from here, 7 plus 6 plus 1, we expect the average student to get 14 attempts out of the total of 22 questions. Please keep in mind, this is not the total correct questions, but simply the number of attempts. Now, obviously, accuracy plays a very important role. So out of these 14 attempts, 90%, 85 to 90% should have been correct. So assuming that 12 questions were correct, giving you 36 marks, and 2 questions were incorrect, deducting 2 marks there, we expect that you would have got a score of 34 in this paper in QA. 34 would have been a good score, easily crossing the cutoff, and in fact, even giving you a good percentile here. Now with this, we conclude the analysis of the QA section.
This is the analysis of GK section in IFT Mock 3. This analysis is also going to follow the similar pattern that we used in the previous mock analysis also. That is, the entire analysis is divided into 3 parts. In part 1, we are going to look at the distribution of topics. That is, how many questions were being asked from which topic. Then in part 2 of the presentation, we will look at the mapping of questions according to their level of difficulty into easy, moderate, and difficult. And then towards the end, we will look at what could have been a good score for this particular mock test as far as the GK section is concerned. So let us start with the first part, which is distribution of topic of GK section in this mock. So out of the total 20 questions in GK section of this mock, the bifurcation is 6 questions were from current affairs, while 14 questions were from static GK. All the 6 current affairs questions were mostly on predictable lines, so they were easier. And then some of the static GK questions were also comparatively easy. So this particular GK section was easier than the rest of the mocks that you have seen. If you look at the different topics within current affairs from where the questions were asked, so there were 2 questions based on international news. There were questions related to S-400 Triumph missile defense system. And there was another question about controversy's favorite child, that is Donald Trump, and a new social media platform that he has launched recently. Both of these were easy questions. Then there was a question about government scheme, another question about India's rank in Global Hunger Index. And there was one match the following type of questions in which you have to match person with the post that they are holding. Then there was one question from science and tech. It was not exactly science and tech, it was mostly international finance because the question was about cryptocurrency, a very easy question related to Bitcoin. So these were the 6 current affairs questions. If you look at the static GK portion, within static GK, there were questions from expected areas. For example, there were 3 questions related to business awareness. In different MP entrance examination, business awareness is one section where examiner likes to test the student on. Business awareness was followed by 3 questions, once again from another favorite area from IFT, that is international organization. Then there were a couple of questions each from art and culture. One was a question about musical instrument and their exponents, and a second question was about the sects in Buddhism. So I'm including that not into history, but into art and culture. Then there were questions on geography and history. Geography and history otherwise are difficult, but here both of them were easier. And there was one question about awards and recognition, a question related to Magsaysay Award winners. And then there were few questions which are like random questions. There were 3 questions which cannot be categorized in any of the above categories. So I have created a separate category called miscellaneous GK. So this was the total bifurcation of questions in terms of areas from where the questions were asked. Now going forward, let us look at the level of difficulty of some of these questions. So in terms of level of difficulty, 7 questions can be called as easy. So easy are the questions where the chances of you getting that correct is more than 90%. Almost half of the paper was of moderate difficulty level. 10 out of the total 20 GK questions were moderate difficulty. A student who is reasonably well prepared should be able to get at least 5 of these 10 questions correct. And then there were 3 questions which were quite difficult, a type of questions which you should leave straight away. Correct? So easy questions, moderate questions, difficult questions. Just to give you a sample, so there was this question about choosing one of the four options given who is not an Indian Magsaysay Award winner. So Magsaysay is a very, very prominent award. And the question is difficult because the choices are so framed that most of the students will have the tendency to pick up Arvind Kejriwal. But to tell you the fact, Arvind Kejriwal is actually a winner of Magsaysay Award. So correct answer is Anna Hazare. Slightly tricky question. Then looking at another difficult question was a question related to sustainable development goals. You need to know the exact number of SDGs, sustainable development goals. Sustainable development goals are a set of 17 goals proposed by United Nations. So the question was about identifying the exact number of goals. Then there was a question about relationship between export and import and currency appreciation. So that was also one of the questions categorized by me as one of the difficult questions. So let us sample some of the easy questions. Questions like Buddhist sects. Buddhist sects. The choices were so framed that you could very easily rule out two of the four choices, because one choice was Vaishnava and Shaiv, which is obviously two sects in Hinduism. And then another choice was the Hanafi and Hanabil school, which are Islamic sounding names. So you can rule out that also. Then the two other choices left, one of that was Shwetambar and Digambar. Majority of the students know that these are actually the sect in Jainism. So the remaining choice was the correct answer, which is Himyan and Mahayana. And then there was question related to Bitcoin. There were three statements and you need to identify which of the three statement is not correct. And the very first statement was Bitcoins or cryptocurrencies are controlled by central bank of a country, which is obviously not correct, because this is one of the USPs of Bitcoins, that it is not controlled by any of the government. It is actually a deregulated currency. So that was a wrong option. Very easy to pick up. There was a question about India's rank in Global Hunger Index. It was a very, very expected question. Another expected question was Prime Minister launching PM Gati program. This was a program for infrastructure development in India, recently announced by Government of India, and one of the flagship schemes by Prime Minister Modi. It was expected that there will be a question about some of the most famous schemes launched by government in last 1 year. This is also one such scheme. So the question on PM Gati was expected. Then there were a couple of other questions also. For example, there was a geography question in which you need sequence of ports in India starting from east to west. And one of the option given was Jamnagar. Very easy to identify that Jamnagar has to be the westernmost port. And there was only one choice in which Jamnagar was given in the west. So this was also easy question. Then history question was related to Mahatma Gandhi and his non-cooperation movement. The question was, non-cooperation movement was launched in the backdrop of which famous incident? Answer to that was Jallianwala Bagh. This year, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has dedicated refurbished Jallianwala Bagh monument. So Jallianwala Bagh was in news recently, and this is why the question was also framed in mock test. Anyone who is reading the news regularly should be able to answer this question. So 7 of the 20 questions were easy, while 10 were of moderate difficulty level. 3 questions were very, very difficult. Now, looking at what could have been the good score in this mock test, spending 8 to 10 minutes to scan the paper to identify the easy questions to answer, and at least 6 of these easy questions were doable, and then at least 5 or 6 of moderate difficulty level questions were also doable. So that takes us to a good attempt of 12 questions. 12 questions should be a good attempt in this particular GK section. 12 questions with an accuracy of approximately 80% is 7 to 8 correct questions. All right. Any score with more than 7 GK questions correct in this mock test was indeed a good score. All right. So this is the analysis of GK section.
Hi everyone. Today we are going to learn and do the exam analysis of the EOM IIFT 2021, the third one. We'll be doing the exam analysis of the DILR section. Now we'll be doing this in 4 parts. The first part will be, we'll understand the topic distribution of from which topics we got the questions. Next, we'll be understanding the various difficulty levels of the questions. How were they easy, moderate, or difficult? Next, we'll understand what were the good attempts or expected attempts, and in how much time you should have attempted those. Okay? And finally, the expected scores, which will obviously be dependent on the expected attempts. Now, let's see the sectional distribution. Now, over here, the various topics will be from data interpretation and logical reasoning. So we have 4 questions from tables, 7 questions from arrangements. We had 4 questions based on set theory, 1 question based on number series. There were 3 questions based on coding and decoding. 4 questions were based on games. Then graphs, we had 4 questions. Then miscellaneous, 2 questions, and there was a logical question as well. So in total, we had 30 questions over here. Let's see the mapping of the questions, which were easy, moderate, or difficult. Let's see this one. This was very easy question. So it could have been done in a matter of seconds if you observe it and find a pattern. Next one. This is a coding and decoding one. If you observe the pattern, it was quite easy. It is based on the rank of the alphabet in the alphabetical series, and it could have been done quite easily. The next 2 questions were based on coding and decoding, which were quite easy as well. Now over here, the coding and decoding was based on the concept of number of vowels and consonants, so quite easy. Next, we had the seating arrangement, or the arrangement of students in the order of their height and weight. Now, if you arrange this carefully, it was quite easy. Okay, so there were around 4 questions based on this thing. Three questions were there. They were quite simple. Now, this one was another logical question. We had to find out the missing number. The logic was based on digit sum. Okay, so by adding all the digits and continuously adding it until we get a single digit number. That was the logic. Next one. Now, this question was of moderate difficulty because you could have fitted all the data in the Venn diagram, but because this is a Venn diagram or a set theory question based on 4 sets, because there were 4 brands, it was a bit time consuming set, and for some students it could have been difficult as well. So this was a tricky and time consuming set. So there were 4 questions over here. Next one. Again, a seating arrangement around a circular table. The Prime Minister and Finance Minister. So there were 10 people to be seated around a circular table. Again, we had 4 questions over here. We can say that these were also a bit moderate type of questions. Okay, the first straightforward data was easily doable, but there were various cases to be assumed when arranging the remaining people whose direct data is not given. So these 4 questions were also of moderate difficulty. Now another set. Now there were 2 questions based on this set. We had to form teams The hints were quite straightforward given. There were 8 students and we had to make teams of 3 each. So total 6 members would be part of the teams. The information was quite straightforward given. So you could have easily formed the teams if you read and do it, apply it carefully, all the conditions. So these 2 questions were easily doable. Now this one. Now this was a tables question. You can see if you know basic properties of percentage and discount, you would have been able to do these questions quite easily. There were around 4 questions, each question based on each type of tea. So Nilgiri, Assam, Darjeeling and Sikkim. So there were 4 questions based on each of the type. Now this question was easy. The next question, again, calculation of discount was easy. The third question based on Assam variety of tea, where we had to find out the selling price to make a profit of 12.5%. This was also easy. But the last question was a bit moderate level difficulty than the other 3. Okay, so it was a bit time consuming than the other 3 questions. So we can say that this was moderate level difficulty. The next thing, now we had a bar chart. Okay, the data was given about the export and import of major agricultural products of India. Now, this question was specifically quite easy because it was just we had to find out a percentage of a required quantity of maize produced in India. Okay, quite doable if you know basic concepts of percentage. Next question, also quite doable. It was the production of rice approximately more than its requirement. Okay, so percentage more concept, quite doable if you are thorough with the concept of percentage. That's why marked as easy. The next question was of a bit moderate difficulty level. Okay, because there were a bit conditional things. Okay, so a bit more difficult than the previous ones. So marked as moderate level difficulty. The last question has more constraints and more conditions than all the 3 questions previous. So it is marked as a difficult question. Okay, so it is not only time consuming, it is a bit difficult as well in terms of calculation. So let's see the next one. Now these is about the games. Okay, 4 friends were playing cards, and this was a very time consuming and a bit difficult type of question set. Okay, mostly because it is a bit time consuming. Okay, so all these 4 questions can be marked as difficult because each question is based on the completely filling up of this table. Okay, so if you're not able to completely fill this table, you will not be able to answer these questions. Okay, so that's why they have been marked as difficult. Now let's understand the expected attempts, expected scores over here. Okay, now there were 15 questions over here of difficulty level easy, and 10 questions of moderate level difficulty. So you can see here, difficulty level was, we had easy 15 questions, 10 questions were moderate and 5 questions were difficult. Total we had 30 questions. The expected attempts, we can say that around 12 from easy, 5 from moderate could have been attempted, and 1 from the difficulty questions. Now, the ideal time the student should have spent on all these should have been 35 to 40 minutes approximately. And considering 18 attempts, okay, and obviously the student cannot have 100% accuracy. So therefore, let's take around 15 correct attempts. So a good score or expected score for the student can be 42. Okay, so this was about the DILR section, okay, from IIFT 3. Now we are saying the good score is 42, but the cutoff can be around 18 marks as well. Okay, so good score is separate from cutoff score. Okay, so good score or expected score is separate from cutoff score. So understand this.
Here we are into the third IFT test, and it's getting colder and colder across India. Good, na? Everybody who's been targeting IFT, Delhi is going to be so cold when you are at IFT. Anyways, let's not talk about cold, because what was this paper today? This paper today was anything but cold. The analysis, as is it should always be. I don't expect people to be at a beginner or intermediate level now, because it's been a while since you gave your CAT, and you should now be back to preparing those 2 sections that you know are going to be a part of your IFT: verbal ability and reading comprehension section 1, vocabulary, 2nd, grammar. So planning, and then time allocation. How much should you have given to your RC and verbal logic based questions? How much time should you have given to your VA based questions, which are based on vocabulary or grammar? What did we have in the paper? 35 questions, ideal time. Honestly, I would put the ideal time as 30 minutes, but people then tell me, sir, aapke level pe kyun bol rahe ho? Hamare level pe bolo. So fine. I'll keep it at 35 minutes. Enjoy your extra 5 minutes. What else? 16 questions in passages, 4 passages of 4 questions each, all of them towards the end. 5 questions in grammar, 2 sentence completion, which is fill in the blanks, 1 sentence correction, 2 idiom usage. Even that 1 sentence correction was more of vocabulary than of a grammar, but fine. Let's keep it there because it was basically a usage based question. 6 verbal logic questions, 3 parables, 3 analogies, and 8 vocabulary-based questions, 2 sentence completions, 4 word meanings, out of which 3 were a part of a crossword, and then 2 spellings. So overall, what did the paper look like? The paper was a moderate paper. The same paper on an exam like INMAT would be an easy paper. But on an exam like IFT, where you have a negative marking, it becomes moderate. That's the difference. In MAT, you do not have a negative marking. So let's start. Rearranging jumbled sentences, what you call parajumbles. What did we have? We had 3 questions. Demise of Kaho Kya was a moderate question. Technically, see, IFT with so many questions and so much of selection dilemma. Yeah, we do play a bit conservative. Questions which on CAT or on INMAT would be labeled easy, just because IFT has negative marking, and it really takes your selection skills to the limit. The same question would be marked moderate on the IFT. So don't be surprised when you see, sir, ye to easy tha. I know it could have been easy, but let's keep it moderate. There's no harm in saying, oh, I got a moderate question correct, instead of saying, oh, it was an easy question and that's why I got it correct. So your demise of Kaho Kya, a moderate one. Again, all 3 of them were moderate. I've been very honest in saying it is only the time constraint that is actually making an easy question moderate for the second and the third parajumble. Then you had 3 analogy-based questions, out of which technically 12th and 13th were tricky only for the word meanings. If you haven't been looking at Vocab Empower yet, if you're still spending your time with something like a Norman Lewis or something like a Wordsmith, please pick up Vocab Empower before it is too late. all of these words were from vocab empower, so much that we had an empower in question number 14. Anyway, so yeah, more or less moderate, all three of them, because word meanings were the key. If you did not know the word meanings, you would not have any clue what is happening in those analogy questions. Then you had your grammar based questions, 5 of them. Idioms, for some reason, King of the Castle would have felt a bit confusing to so many of you, because if you try to understand what does a king do, if you've never heard that word, you can justify more than one answers. Going through fire and water, second and fourth are definitely way too close. I mean, if you have never heard of the idiom, there is no doubt you will find that second and fourth are equally correct, although that is not the case. Sentence selection, the difference between oral and unoral, yeah, it was just about one word. Preposition based sentence completions, both of them were moderate. The first, pick up the penny, the understanding of below and beneath. If you don't know the difference between below and beneath, just leave it. Same, the teacher said shush, teacher said do not talk during the class. Then did the teacher say, school mein, did your teacher say do not talk in the class, or did she say do not talk during the class? Why she? It could be a he also. I don't know. I don't remember in my primary school any of my male teachers being English teachers. But anyways, yeah, so moderate if you remember that your teacher used the correct word. Then I had vocabulary based questions, a lot of them. Sentence completion, the first one fairly moderate. Why? Because again, word meanings, ill-planned and hazardous enterprise. The next one was difficult, truly difficult. Difference, understanding the difference between devoted and dedicated. Way too close. Devoted to a particular cult or dedicated to a particular cult. Palace of Knossos. Then you had one word meaning, which was actually pretty the easier to handle of the remaining 4, because the remaining 3, because the remaining 3 came in the form of a crossword. So yeah, this was the machination to try it, fewer words, but still difficult, because out of 5 words, I think you would have stumbled upon at least 2, probably 3 of them. Purport would have been a tricky word for so many of you. Triage would have been a tricky word for so many of you. 15, 16, and 17, all 3 of them were from the crossword, which is always an intimidating experience, because you need to understand what is there in the crossword, what are the words and meanings given, and then you need to cross-check, and then you also have to be very, very careful with selecting your answer choices. So 15th was difficult. Too many new words there. 16th, not so difficult. Yeah, logically, I mean, 16th and 17th, you just had to figure out 2 words, not 4 of them. So it should be a moderate one, soothing or shapeless. Then you had the third one, and then you had 2 spelling tests, both of them fairly difficult. First thing, you have been asked to identify which spelling is correct. So many of you would have gotten confused between encourage and disastrous. Someone would have picked up a third word also. 19th, a classic example, if you don't know the spellings of supersede and liaison, for that matter, you should have simply left out, which I guess many of you must have done. You must have skipped question number 19. Next was what? Next was my first passage, US in the Yugoslavia war. What would I label it? On CAT, I would have labeled it easy. Today, I'm going to label it moderate. Why? Time constraint, selection skills, and a passage that is like 35 minutes. You have to rush through the passage. The passage has to be labeled moderate. Easy to read, yes, but no easy questions. 4 questions, 2 of them inferences, 2 of them mentioned in the passage. More or less all of them had the same effort required. If you've read the passage, it becomes easy. There were, I mean, even question number 20 and 23, both of them mentioned in the passage, they were not direct questions. You would not have just read the question stem and scanned for something in the passage and figured out the answer. No. And if you are doing the other way around, if you are actually reading the answer choices and picking up keywords from there, and then you are scanning the passage, that is just so wrong. You can't attempt a direct question that way. So 4 questions, like I said, 2 moderate ones, 3 moderate ones, and 1 difficult one. The next passage, social modeling, I think compared to the Yugoslavia war passage, this was not so easy to read, but then not so difficult also. The difficult ones are coming up later. All of them moderate questions, all of them, no, not all of them, 3 of them inference questions and 1 of them a main idea question, out of which the main idea question probably was the trickiest because there were 2 very close answer choices. Everything else I think is more or less, if you've done enough of inference practice in your CAT or any other exam, this was not so much of a problem. Yes, this was a difficult one. Marijuana legalization. I would definitely call it a difficult passage, moderate to read, but mostly difficult questions. The primary purpose itself had too many close choices. Then you had an inference, which again had close choices and less time. There was a mention in the passage, which when I read that question, I was like, there could be 2 correct answers. So if that is what I feel, I can understand how you people feel, multiple appealing options. And then finally, a mention in the passage was just straightforward, so much easy to figure out. So what happens when you come across a passage like this? Give me a minute. We are going to come to the slide where I tell you what to do with the test. Last passage, central bank digital currency, probably as fresh as something you might have read in the last 1 month. Central bank digital currency, overall difficulty moderate. It was a newspaper article only. So if you haven't been reading newspapers because of the stress of CAT, this might have come across as a bit challenging to read. If you have been reading newspapers, this wasn't so very difficult to read, which is why I've written easy to read. All moderate questions, 2 inferences, again 2 mentioned in the passage. This paper should give you a very clear idea of what kind of questions can you expect in reading comprehension on the IFT. Mostly there will be inferences and mentioned in the passage. Very, very few will be the uncommon ones like title and tone and source of the passage or whatever. Right. We are done with 35 questions. Where do I stand after 35? The expected performance, 26 moderate questions, 9 difficult questions, total 35. What would I expect you to do? Identify 18 out of 26 moderate ones, get me 16 correct. Just attempt 2 difficult ones and get me 1 correct, which means you would have reversed the entire grid and you could have attempted 20 moderate questions and gotten me 17 correct and not touched any difficult questions. Now you must have observed in the last 2 IFT analysis that your expected performance, if you apply simple math here, 17 correct, 3 incorrect, that would give you a score of 17 into 351 minus 348. You would want to consider, so okay, so 48 is my cutoff. 48 is not the cutoff. That's not how IFT works. 48 here would actually be a good score. What does a good score mean? A good score here means there are hundreds of people who will clear the IFT cutoffs. But then there is going to be an overall cutoff that will be significantly higher than merely the sum of the cutoffs of each sections. Because that is how it should be. Merely clearing the cutoff should not make someone eligible for an interview. So for all of the people who clear the cutoff in each section, from them, they'll identify the top, whatever number of people they want to call. And when they do that, the overall score shoots up. So your good scores that you see here, whether it is the verbal analysis or you must have already seen the DI and LR analysis before this, the QA analysis before this, the GK analysis, and all of them, we give you a cutoff score. And then we also give you a good score because our performance here, when you are able to attempt 20 in VARC and get me 17 correct, it means you are increasing your chances to reach, I'll show you that slide once, reach something like a 134, even though the cutoff, is only 21. So back to what should you have done depends on what kind of a test taker you are. If you are someone who prefers verbal ability questions first, you could have taken approach 1, start with grammar. Even in grammar, starts with idioms, then go to prepositions, and then go to the sentence correction question. Why? Because it was oral. There was not really much of a sense in doing it upfront. First, 5 minutes, get me 5 attempts, 4 correct, because there are only 5 questions. Verbal logic, you should have attempted 3 analogies and 2 paraexamples, or maybe 3 paraexamples and 2 analogies, whichever you like. 6 to 8 minutes, 5 attempts and 4 correct. Then you go to the vocabulary based questions. You first start with sentence completion. Yes, sentence completion. Gives you stability. Then you go to the meanings, and lastly, you go to the crosswords. Sentence completion, meaning, crossword, and then if you want to, like, you could have left out crosswords and straight away gone to the spellings. I'm fine with that also. The idea is give it only 4 minutes and get me 4 attempts and 3 correct. Then you pick up passages, attempt. First, Yugoslavia war has to be attempted. It is what is that one passage that everybody had to do. 3 attempts and 3 correct. And then depending on your reading skills or your preferences of topics, you could have either picked up the central bank digital currency passage, or you could have picked up the social banding passage. Same, 2 to 3 minutes to read, 3 to 4 minutes to solve, 3 attempts, 3 correct. I am imposing that 100% accuracy on RCs because I know that is where you can get 100% accuracy in IFT. It is just about selection skills. So 33 to 35, honestly, this can be done in 30 minutes also. That's what my actual calculation is. If you count all of these numbers, the higher end reaches only 31 to 32 minutes. But like I said, with all the things, with all the switching and all the back and forth that you will do in the section, let's give you 33 to 35 minutes, 20 attempts, 17 correct. Alternate case, maybe you are just someone who loves passages like I would, and then you would go to verbal ability. In that case, what would you do? Start with the Yugoslavia war passage, then go to CBDC, central bank digital currency, then go to social bonding. This approach and the previous approach, now you will see what is there in common. I have not even touched the marijuana legalization passage because it did not make sense. It was just like there is so much else to do on the test. Why would I even touch that passage? You can solve it later, but not during the test when you know there's a negative marking and there's a time constraint and there are so many other things to do during the test. So 3 passages, approximately what, 4. So you spent on around 20 to 23 minutes in those 3 passages, and after 23 minutes you have come out with 12 attempts and 9 correct, and you have another 10 to 12 minutes in which you're going to race through things. So you'll have a verbal logic, you'll have a grammar, and you have vocabulary. All of them you pick and make sure that you're only attempting whatever you know. So all 3 of them, you pick up 100% accuracy. Again, the same thing, 33 to 35 minutes, easily possible that you would reach 20 attempts and 17 correct. Hence I said, my good score is something that, I repeat, increases your chances of getting an interview call. Good score is not the cutoff score. So for all of these sections combined, this is what this paper would be. Verbal ability and reading comprehension, probably 30 to 35 minutes. Quantitative ability, another 35 minutes. Ideal attempts, 20. Number of correct would be 17. My expected cutoff will be around 21 to 22. Quantitative ability, ideal attempts, 14. Probably an expected cutoff of 16 or 16 to 17. Data interpretation and logical reasoning. Again, against 18 attempts, I would see you people scoring. I would see IFT placing a cutoff of around 18. So cutoff means if you don't clear that score, even if you are standing at a 154 or a 164, you won't get an interview call. You have to clear the minimum benchmark in all of them, whether it is IFT, whether it is NMAT, all exams for that matter. So DILR also 35 to 40 minutes. Yes, you now seen the trend that DILR is where we end up asking you to give more time. So 18 attempts, maybe a cutoff of around 18 to 20. General knowledge and current awareness, again, 8 to 10 minutes, attempt 12 questions, and the cutoff will be around 8. So while 64 ideal attempts with an 80% accuracy would have given you a fantastic score of 51 attempts, which is 51 into 3, 153. 51 attempts, 51 correct, and around 13 incorrect, that would be 153 minus 13, around 140, if you have been able to maintain an 80% accuracy. Against 140, we expect that IFT would have put up a cutoff, overall cutoff, to qualify for an interview. That's what. Individual cutoffs, and you would need somewhere around a 134 to be invited for the next round of the IFT admission process. So that's it. That's how it works. Hence, do not lower your guard. Do not go easy. Do not take your foot off the accelerator just because IFT is expected to be an easy to moderate level paper only. make sure that if anything by any chance went wrong with CAT, the revenge has to be taken on IFT. No, I'm just joking. Don't take revenge. Go out, perform your best. We'll see you again with mock IFTs 4 and 5. Take care. Enjoy the cold outside. Keep solving. Goodbye, everyone.